Hey, everybody! I wash my hands during that song. It's like two happy birthdays. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sandwich Talk. I am your host, Carlos Parisi. This is a show that I record from my apartment. This is my kitchen, and it's my chance to hang out with my friends. We each make a sandwich in our own kitchens using only the stuff that we basically have going on. So, pretty happy. I started doing this as a response to quarantine. And I also have the regular Sandwich Talk podcast, which you can find on Spotify, on Apple Music, on Google Play, any way that you listen to podcasts. But we do this now, and this is a lot of fun. On today's show, I am happy that I've gotten to connect with this guy a bunch over COVID, but still like masks up, like only porch hangs basically. But honestly, one of my closest friends here in the city, somebody who I met just kind of out of nowhere in the food world. And then we became friends just because of our food likes and dislikes and the conversations that we've had. This guy's a lot of fun. He's one of my best friends. Everybody, Brian Dukoff, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, dude. Thanks for being on the show. We've done a lot of stuff together in terms of like work, but this is like not really work.
Well, it's nice to be in front of a camera, I guess, while working with you. So it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm used to it.
So you and I have done, we've done like the Antony's videos together. We first met because we did some work on McClure's together. And then now you're just like Mr. Freelance over here, killing it on a bunch of different stuff. For the folks at home that don't know you, what do you do?
I'm a video content producer, editor, director. I've worked in sports television for the last 7 years. Now I work directly with athletes and local businesses to kind of, help push their digital and social content, whatever needs to be done, but really to help athletes and fans connect on a deeper level outside of game days or during game days. But yeah.
Is it because, so do you work closely with sports because of your relationship to the sports in the past, or do you just prefer working on sports?
There's just something to sports, in the game. Just like it's like the world of sports is like a micro. I mean, everything's magnified in the world of sports, whether it be social injustices, health in terms of players' injuries, just the stakes of the game, drama. I mean, just anything that happens in the world can happen in sports, but it's just magnified just because the spotlight that's put on it. And there's just, good guys that work super hard to get out of whatever situation it might have been to get to this point. And, now that they're in this position that they want to help out and give back to their city, it's just something that I've always sort of been drawn to. And it's just nice to have a distraction at the end of the day. Sometimes a hard day at work, whatever it might be, come back, watch a children's game. I think it's great. So it's just something I've always kind of done. And then I guess getting to Detroit, which will be going into like my 5th year. It's been 4.5 years that I've been here. Just scary. I know. This is like my 5th winter.
4 years?
Yeah, I'm going into like my 5th winter. I feel like a pro now. But I just like really connected to the city and just like really bought into it. I mean, I don't know if you know this or if we ever talked about it, but like the first place I ever went in Detroit was Eastern Market. In the middle of February, I came out for my tour for the interview, and a friend of mine took me to Eastern Market in the middle of February. And that was the first place that I've ever been in Detroit, let alone Michigan. That was outside of the hotel. And I was like, okay, I get it. Like, this is it. Like, I can buy into this. Wow. Just like the people, the energy, even in the middle of February, I was like, yeah, I'm in. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's why it's always been like the place that I like to go.
I also never knew like your perspective on the reasoning behind the sports TV. Like, that's really interesting to me because like I'm not a sports head. Like I'll watch a sport here and there. I'll play a sport. I'll go to an event, But in terms of like following sports or like knowing the players or anything like that, not even a little bit.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I hate to admit it, but a lot of times I don't even watch sports myself. The things that like attract me to sports is so much less of what happens on the field, but what happens off the field. Just the stories of these guys, overcoming injuries, whatever it might be, to get to this point that they're in, and to see them then perform with the pressures that they have, whatever that might be. I mean, it's my whole thing is I'm just always trying to convince people that sports is just as much of an art form as any other form of art. I feel like a lot of times people see sports as separate from art, but the way that these guys move, the way that it's captured via camera, the way that you can tell the story, the way all these things, I mean, the way you watch it on the broadcast, I mean, it's cinematic and it's storytelling. So, but the crazy thing about it is you just don't know how the story is going to unfold, so that's why I've always liked it.
It's a really interesting perspective. Dang. How about sports with food? Are there any like sports stars that you've met that are just like diehard food heads too?
Oh my God. So yeah, because what's crazy is the food that an athlete puts in their body is so important. And a friend of mine, he's the head chef over at Savannah Blue. He was a personal chef for a lot of athletes in the city. And so they get really good food. I mean, what they put in their body is really great. But then you also hear stories about, like, I know baseball players that will, I shouldn't just call out baseball players, but, guys that just like only eat Chipotle and Chick-fil-A, right? So it's just like kind of crazy, like the spectrum of like how people take care of their bodies. But the calorie intake that they have to have is nuts. So the pregame food meals that they have, postgame food meals, whatever it might be, it's pretty crazy. So,
wow. Like I talked to a football player for the Lions once, and I remember asking him, I was like, "What are your favorite restaurants here around the city?" He goes, "Honestly, I just order Jets and play video games at home. That's it. That's all he does." And
yeah.
that blew me away because like I really only talk to people about food for the most part. And this guy was saying that he just eats Jets and plays video games. And those are two things that like, okay, cool. Like I definitely like Jets, but like, have you checked out any of the other pizza places?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of guys now, and what's kind of cool is with social media, you're able to follow athletes closer and get a more intimate look into people's personal lives. And a lot of these guys post food pictures. I mean, just like anyone else. But what's really great is, as I've noticed, like this season, that a lot of guys are eating more in Detroit as opposed to just in the suburbs. And that's a big part of it is the Pistons moving downtown. So now we have 0 professional teams outside of the city of Detroit. So they're spending more time in the city. Some of them are living downtown now, closer to the stadiums. And so their food experiences are growing. I mean, we've seen it on Saturdays. Abdul Kader will come down to Eastern Market. DeAndre Levy was living in Eastern Market when he was with the Lions for a short stint. So all these guys, their food experiences in Detroit are definitely growing. And it just depends, getting done with a game at 11:30 at night. Your food options are more limited than the off season when you can, have a more regular food schedule. So,
man, you're telling me I've been dying for good late night food here in the city, and it's so hard to find.
Yeah. My first that day after the Eastern Market, I went to the Michigan State hockey game at the Joe, and we went to Lafayette and American, and like I miss that. Like I miss like getting done with like work and going to just get a late night Coney. I just miss it.
Time out. You said you went to Lafayette and American?
Well, it was my first time in the city, so we did Lafayette. I had 2 dogs, and then went over to American to have one to compare.
So,
I mean, like instantly, I knew like Lafayette's the answer. That's the play.
I want to make sure.
But yeah,
they say, by they I mean we, that American is Trump, Lafayette is Biden, and Dooley's is Bernie. Do you agree?
I would never want to compare anybody to Trump. So I would like to believe that American is not that. I mean, are we talking about quality of food, or are we talking about like owner politics? I don't like.
We're just gonna leave it anyway.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Topic. Just want to make sure that I shout you out, dude. Congratulations again on like all of the awards that you've won too. You are, in my opinion, of all the people that I've ever worked with in terms of video production, you're one of the best, if not the best editor that I've ever met in my entire life. Like you can piece together a story from nothing and you make it really good. And on top of that, you have this vision in your mind to mold a really good story out of what you're just kind of shooting here and there. So I definitely give it up to you. Dude, it's really hard to get Emmys, and I'm sure you know that, but you've done a great job at doing it. So good job to you.
Thanks. Yeah, it's always like nice to be able to tell stories in whatever form that might be. So
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk real quick though, because we're not here just to talk about all that kind of stuff. We're here to really talk about sandwiches, Brian. That's what we do. We talk.
True. In like my life.
I know for a fact that you love burritos, specifically California burritos with the fries, not the Northern California Mission burrito that is considered California burrito across the rest of the United States, but instead a true California burrito. But I don't know what your favorite sandwich is.
Yeah. So I know this is not the burrito podcast, so we'll stay away from that for a different time. But no, I'm a lifelong sandwich guy. In college, which is actually the sandwich I'm going to make is paying tribute to. But I, for 4 years, went to this little deli called Hollingshead Deli in Santa Ana, or I think it might be Orange, California. The best way to describe it for people would be 8 degrees Play-Doh, but with a sandwich bar.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like a World of Beer place with a tiny little bar, and then they also have a sandwich shop, and it's like sandwiches that taste like your mom make, but it's family run by Ken Hollingsworth, Ken Jr., and then their son. So it's 3 generations of men, and it's like a Green Bay Packers bar. So it's like, I mean, it looks like you walked into a sitcom when you walk in there, and it's amazing. So for 4 years, I was eating these amazing homemade sandwiches by the Hollingshead family.
What's the name of the place again?
Hollingshead Deli.
Hollingshead. Okay, everybody help. Hollingshead Deli.
Holling, HOLLINGSHEAD. Hollingshead.
HEAD. So head. Hollingshead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hollingshead Deli.
Yeah.
Deli.
Dairy.
Deli. Desi.
Okay. Don't speak Spanish, Baxter.
If anybody ends up going to Hollingshead Deli, shoot me a sandwich.
They're amazing. They're amazing. So I did that. As always with me and my friends, we'd go get a sandwich wherever it might be. Hollingshead, another place called The Grinder that's no longer around. And then coming here, there's just a ton of great sandwich places. I don't know, my favorite sandwich in Detroit.
Located on Michigan Avenue, like just south of Livernois.
What was that?
The Grinder sounds like it's located on Michigan Avenue, just south of Livernois.
It was probably not the best name, but this was like the app called Grinder, and also so anyways, it was good. It was like an old-fashioned soda shop too. I'd say my favorite sandwich in Detroit, though, or Metro Detroit, would be Ernie's. Like, I think maybe just because it's similar to Hollingshead, there's something to having like an elderly father figure type guy hand you a sandwich and like know that it's being made with love. In Ernie's case, literal love. But I got to go Ernie's.
Nice, good pick. I haven't had Ernie's in a while. Last time I went, he wasn't even there, and I was bummed.
Yeah, the last time I went like for 4 months and he wasn't coming out from the back. Like his daughter's taken over, and the last time I was there, he came out. This pre-pandemic, and he like walked around the front and just started like he's like, I got to take a break. So he took his break by talking to people one on one. Like, I mean, he grabbed my wrist and like while he was talking and telling me a story, and I swear to God, it felt like Dumbledore was talking to me like directly. It was like I know everyone's got like an Ernie story, but he's just. I mean, he just makes you happy. Like,
what a good guy.
He literally just makes everyone happy who walks in there. You can't leave that place not happy.
Big shout to Ernie's Market. If you've never been there, it's in Oak Park. You go there and you get a monster sandwich filled with a bunch of deli meats and filled with just it's a sandwich that's nothing like truly. I wouldn't say it's anything that's like out of the ordinary in terms of the sandwich world. But the fact of the matter is, Ernie himself is the reason to go. And on top of that, it just makes the sandwich taste so much better. And it's a big beefy boy. And
well,
yeah,
I mean, it's the same concept of like, I don't know. I feel like you could go to a cocktail bar and get like a super fancy cocktail, right? That's got all these random ingredients and whatnot, and it's great. Or you can go to like a dive bar, like a Jumbo's or something like that, or Bronx bar, and have just as great of a drink, for around the same price. But it's just a matter of like, and I'm not comparing like Ernie's to a dive bar, but it's not like going to a fancy sandwich shop where you're getting like all the aioli sauces and whatnot on it.
I would compare it to a dive bar. I would say it's a dive bar of a sandwich place.
Sure. I mean, it's inside a liquor store technically, right? So like that doesn't sell liquor.
Used to be a liquor store.
Yeah.
Now currently it's just Ernie's.
Right. And so it's just, that it's nice to have the sandwich just sort of like made for you. And not to say that other sandwich shops don't make it for you, I guess, but it's just, I don't know. It's just that experience, right? You go to a dive bar, you go to Moe's in The Simpsons and Moe talks to you, right? You go to Ernie's, Ernie makes it. You go to Cheers and, Mayday Malone's right there talking to you the whole time. It's just that like experience, right? So.
Yeah, I went to this bar in Boston. I got to talk to Mayday Malone. You remember him from the Boston Red Sox? Man.
He was wasted the whole time.
All right. So I want you to do me a favor. Can you please enlighten me on what's in your fridge right now? Because I can't be there to snoop around myself.
I just did a huge Trader Joe's run, which, shout out to them for still taking social distancing seriously. So it's a great shopping experience in the sense of limiting the number of people in the grocery store. But
I feel like some people forgot that the pandemic even exists at this point.
Yeah. I mean, and I get it. There's all the political stuff and the court overruling Big Gretch and basically saying do what you want at this point. But I think there's like such a great respect for the businesses and establishments that are like, no, we're still going to do what's best, not only for you guys, but our employees. So I think that's a huge shout out to them. So, but a lot of meats. All right. We've got.
Oh, it's organized. So nice.
Yeah. Beer. I will say Holiday Market's maple cured smoked bacon is the best bacon that I've had in Metro Detroit.
Have you not just bought Honeybee slab bacon?
I have, but I'm telling you, this stuff just tastes like someone just like drizzled syrup over your bacon, and it makes the house smell great.
Why don't you just drizzle syrup over the Honeybee bacon?
I'll do that next time. I got Anthony's.
Yeah.
Per usual. I've got Ballast Point Sculpin because I always have some form of San Diego beer in my fridge. This is probably my lost the hot sauce. It's good. It's just hot sauce, but it was a Tattoo Scotch bonnet curry hot sauce. I'm just moving on like that never happened. We tried this. Do you remember Ray from Stash had this the one time we were there, and Khalil, my favorite bartender / friend in the city, brought it out for us that one time, and I fell in love. You can get this at Gratiot Central Meat Market, and it's great. You're on everything.
Big shouts to family over at Stash. I love Stash. They're an unsung hero in the sandwich community for Detroit, in my opinion. I think Stash makes a really good sandwich.
Yeah, it's great. And one of the cheapest drinks that you can get to. So,
and they got the little cotton candy peanut boys.
Oh, I hate those. That's not a knock on Stash because they don't make them. The circus peanuts. I just can't do marshmallows. That's my thing. I don't do marshmallow.
I'll eat them all. Whatever you don't eat, I'll eat.
Yeah, it's usually how it goes. Even if I'm gonna eat it, you still will eat it.
Hey, come on! It's not a problem. I just don't like food being left on the table. Okay, I'll finish it, Brian.
I know. It's even before that though. The size of your bites compared to hey, can I try that? And there goes half the sandwich. So. Yeah.
I shouldn't be laughing at this. I'm sorry. Anyway.
Well, you can't do it anymore. If there's one thing that's coming out of the pandemic is that I don't have to share my food with Carlos anymore.
Oh, well, that means just more for me then. I can just order 2 sandwiches and be fine.
Yeah, that's pretty much we already do that. So.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Damn it. Anyway, what sandwich are you thinking about making for us today?
So I think I alluded to it earlier, but I'm going to make one of my favorite sandwiches from Hollingshead Deli. It's called the Beef and Blue. It is roast beef, blue cheese, avocado, mayo on soft sourdough. Avocado and mayo or avocado mayo? Avocado and mayo. So typically it doesn't come with avocado, but I like to add it. So
you got it. Cool.
Yeah.
I am going to make. All right. So here's a big announcement. My friend John, Court Deli.
Yes.
Instagram. So
we talk about fish all the time.
Incredible guy. He's a sous chef at Roast. He also does the Pop-Up Pariah. Well, him and I have actually been coming together on building out the restaurant program, the food program for Kiesling.
Really?
Yeah, and just the full kitchen program there, like what we've been doing in terms of events and what it's going to look like just on a regular day there. John, genius in the kitchen. He knows what he's talking about in terms of sandwiches as well. And this is a sandwich that actually he made for Kiesling. We did it today as a test, and I'm going to make it for you guys today. It is a vegan romesco, along with some mushrooms that have been braised and cured, and then also some what's it called? What are these things called? Kale, and also some kale.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a vegan sandwich. I just made the kale before this, and I'm stoked to show you. I'm not going to make it vegan because I still want to put butter in terms of the crisp, but you can do vegan by just doing the oil, which is what we're going to do. But anyway, damn, that's good. That's what we're going to do. Are you ready to get your stuff prepared?
Yeah, I'm hungry.
All right, cool. Let's go to a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, it's time to make a sandwich. Sandwich Shop is brought to you by Casamara Club. Inspired by the history and traditions of Italian Amaro, these delicious, non-alcoholic, amazing, local soft drinks are balanced, buoyant, and food-friendly. And highlighting the natural vibrancy of farmed ingredients, you can find all 4 varieties available today by checking out their website at casamaraclub.com. That's Casamara Club right there. And we're back. Brian, do you like Casamara Club?
I do. I have some in my fridge right now. Actually, it's hiding behind my pumpkins.
That doesn't look like that's your fridge. Oh yeah. Cheers. Cheers to you. Are you gonna drink it or not?
I gotta open it. Yeah, I will.
Yeah, there you go. All right, cool. I'm gonna start making a sandwich. Pumpkins, not necessary right now. Pumpkins are beautiful though. You're a pumpkin head, right?
Yeah, though I grew my pumpkins this year in my front porch. Did a Woodbridge pumpkin farm. It was a learning experience like no other. Oh my God, it was like, it's tough. I give pumpkin farmers like all the credit in the world. I got like basically freaking home goods decorations out of like 4 months worth of work every morning, like every night, pruning. Like it was brutal. It's interesting, but I'm glad I did it.
Let's make a sandwich.
All right, so I should grab my stuff.
Yeah, start going. I'm gonna start talking about what I'm doing too. So this is Avalon sourdough from the friends over at Avalon Bakery. If you ever know about Avalon, you know it's delicious. I don't need to tell you. If you haven't heard about Avalon Bakery, then I don't know what the hell kind of Detroit rock you've been living under, because Avalon's everywhere. But yeah, amazing sourdough, amazing breads. Big fan. Good people. What kind of bread are you gonna use?
So I am using not the normal bread that I would use. One thing that has come out of the pandemic is my lovely girlfriend, Sarah, became a phenomenal sourdough bread baker. It's all I'm allowed to eat at this point, but it's also the only bread that I would choose to eat. But we were out, so I had to pivot. So I am using.
You just like brought me up here. I was like, oh, I'm stoked to see what Sarah's bread is like.
I know. Yeah, I didn't give her enough of a heads up to create it. But my favorite store-bought bread that's not made by my girlfriend is the brioche bread from Trader Joe's. It's so good. It's my favorite breakfast sandwich bread. Also, like really good with eggs and breakfast or French toast. But I think it also works for just a sort of run-of-the-mill sandwich bread.
I'm going to show you this, Brian. This is romesco.
So what is that?
Romesco, it's basically like a tomato, nut, and garlic and olive oil based sauce. This is vegan as well. So this has pistachio and hazelnut, red pepper, olive oil, sherry vinegar, some paprika, some salt, obviously the garlic as well. But it's just, dude.
Sounds amazing.
Both sides. Oh, it's so good. I'm going to put this on both sides.
So remember earlier when we were talking about the difference between a dive bar and cocktail bar of sandwiches?
Yes.
You are making the cocktail sandwich right now.
Correct.
And I think mine's going to be just the mom sandwich.
I love that. I make all different kinds of sandwiches, but I truly rarely make a vegan sandwich. Like usually it's got to have cheese. It's always got butter in it. So this isn't going to be vegan either.
Yeah.
But this is probably the best vegan sandwich I've ever had in my life. So far.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something to I totally blanked on mentioning the sandwich that I truly grew up on is from a place called Board and Brew out in San Diego. Like all other food in San Diego, I feel like it's just amplified by being right next to the ocean.
Yeah.
But they had this secret sauce that they use that they won't say the recipe. You can't find it anywhere. And it's just so good. But just a turkey club. That's all it is. Like it's nothing fancy, but there's just something to getting a sandwich with a dipping sauce.
Yeah,
or any sort of extra sauce on it.
I love a good dipping sauce. You're right. You're definitely right there. This is so fucking good, dude. All right, so what do you?
I didn't know we were allowed to swear on this show, so that's good.
I don't know. I break the rules all the time. Anyway, what the shit are you gonna do, Brian?
So I'm doing a bit of a variation. Typically, it would involve lettuce. It's a bit of a mess situation, but I'm using arugula. I'll leave it down for a little bit, but just arugula, and then I'm pretty simple when it comes to deli meats. But I went boar's head with roast beef.
Oh,
I don't think you can go wrong with boar's head when it comes to like buying it from a grocery store.
I love arugula, dude. I love arugula.
I do too. I think it just works.
Can I just comment on how much I love that you just grabbed half of that and just like fold it right up on top? Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's small bread. That's the only issue with it. So it's really a tinier sandwich. That's why, like I said, I think it's great for breakfast more than it is than lunch. But so I think you can go with a taller sandwich as a result.
I could get by that. I like that. That's good logic.
You kind of get like the Shaggy and Scooby size sandwich when you use bread like this.
Yeah. So we have a conserva here. So conserva is the way to conserve fresh fish, vegetables, whatever. And this is like plancha seared and smoked and braised mushrooms. So,
wow.
If you can see that, babe.
That sounds so great.
Dude, it is great. That is great. John's a genius. John is a smart boy.
The other thing about bread that we didn't talk about, but we had talked about earlier, was restaurants and shops doing homemade bread.
Oh yeah.
Which ties into, Sarah making her own sourdough. But when I went to Philly for the first time, in beginning of September, like the number of places there that use homemade bread, and I remember we went to Angelo's, which is I think a lot of Philadelphians' consensus best Philly cheesesteak.
Okay.
Someone was like, "Oh, Angelo's uses Sarcone's bakery bread from down the street." I was like, "Oh, well, that sounds great." And then I called them and I said, "Hey, I hear you guys use Sarcone's bread." And they say, "Oh, absolutely not. My brother makes our bread. All of our bread's made in-house." I was like, "Okay, I can get behind this."
Absolutely not.
It was like I was insulting them. So I quickly was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," And his brother's bread was amazing. And it truly makes a difference. And it almost makes me wonder why more sandwich shops don't make homemade bread in-house, because that's so important to the sandwich. Yeah. I mean, I'm not asking sandwich places to, make their own roast beef in-house or grow their own produce or anything like that. And I guess you can get it from a local bakery as well. But I just would think that there would be a real source of pride in baking your own bread for the sandwiches that you provide.
I also love how you called up the sandwich place beforehand to make sure, hey, I heard that you guys are using Sarcone's, right? And then they were like, fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, in that Philadelphian etiquette of theirs, of brotherly love, basically saying, well, literally, my brother makes better bread. But
I like how Philadelphia is like that New York, like very like A-type grit and directness with a little bit of like the Midwestern hello.
Yeah. That sounds accurate.
Anyway, so on here I also put on this kale that I did. I did it just in a pan, olive oil, salt and pepper, did a light splash of some white vinegar on right afterwards. So this is what the sandwich is going to look like, ish.
So that's thin. That's a thin sandwich, but a lot of ingredients in it.
A lot of things in here for sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and do some butter on the old flat top here.
Do you judge sandwiches by their size, or do you judge them by the quality or in terms of the ingredients in it?
I judge by taste. Why? What am I supposed to judge by?
That's fair. I'm just curious if, like, when you see a sandwich, you might be like, oh, like, I went to a place the other day and I got a sandwich that had a lot of stuff that sounded great in it, and it was a good sandwich, but it was like the thinnest sandwich I've ever had. It was like there was barely anything in it.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, so what I truly judge the majority of the things that I eat when I buy them is based off their bang for the buck. If I ended up spending $22 on a sandwich, it better taste like a damn $22 sandwich.
Yeah.
It better taste like this is something that I've never tried before. I want it every day. I'm fine paying another $22 for another one. Like, that's what it better taste like. But, and on the same token, if I'm buying a sandwich for $3, it's probably going to taste freaking amazing because I only paid $3.
See, right. I mean, but that goes to like brings me back to Ernie's, right? You would get 7 meats and all the cheeses.
Yep.
For what used to be like $7. I think it's like $9 now. So it was like $1 a meat.
It used to be $5, Brian.
Yeah, and it's just so you get this massive sandwich, and you look at it and you're like, "This is so impressive," and it would just taste great. And part of me is like, "This is so good because I'm getting all this food for like so little money." Like, yeah. It feels almost like you're stealing, right?
I mean, yeah.
I'm not saying they should raise their prices because I like to go get a cheap sandwich, but
that's one thing that I feel like the bang for your buck in this city has gone down. There's not a lot of great bang for your buck places in Detroit anymore. And yeah. I challenge anybody watching the show right now to prove me wrong. Prove me wrong and show me all of the best bang for your bucks things in the city of Detroit, the city itself. Specifically, if you can show me around the 7.2 region, being downtown, midtown, Corktown, New Center, Eastern Market, et cetera, in the surrounding areas. Now, I know for a fact I can go to Southwest Detroit and I get bang for my buck. I know for a fact that I can head into the, like, right basically past the center of the city and outwards up to like 8 Mile and still get bang for my buck, and that's a beautiful thing. But the fact that I can't just walk outside my door for the best bang for your buck. Now,
yeah, I would say.
Granted, we do have Green Dot, $3 for a slider, always been a good deal. But the thing is, the way that I eat.
Exactly. You spend $40. But I guess you go do that in Birmingham and it's going to cost you $70, right? So, but no, when I moved here, everyone was like, Michigan is cheap, right? It's cheaper to live in Michigan than it was in San Diego. And I would say, yeah, true. You want to buy property. That's fair. Gas, definitely cheaper. I would say there's more cheap, like $3, $4 beer options in Michigan than there were in San Diego. But when it comes to food, like lunch nowadays in downtown or Corktown, you're dropping like close to, a good amount of money. I would say comparable to what you would spend in San Diego on lunch. Yeah. But the thing that's still cheap here is hot dogs. I'll never forget in San Diego, there was a place that was like it was called S&M, Sausage and Meat. They also went out of business. Yeah. And they had all these like crazy hot dogs and whatnot. And a hot dog from them cost $13 to $15. And they had just a plain Hebrew National hot dog that was like $9. Like one Hebrew National hot dog was $9. So
$9 for one hot dog? Excuse me? No.
I know. Also, I apologize for talking about hot dogs on a sandwich podcast because a hot dog is not a sandwich. So we shouldn't even be having this conversation. I apologize.
I completely agree. Hot dog is definitely not a sandwich, but you can still talk about it on the podcast. The podcast, no rules here. You can talk about whatever the hell you want. Let's say
I just want to say on that, like, which is a very tired and like overdone conversation, but the one answer that I've never heard anyone give as to why it is not. A hot dog is not a sandwich, but it is sandwiched between a piece of bread. It's not a sandwich, but it's sandwiched. And I think that's the difference.
Did you ever used to make a sandwich with a hot dog bun when you were a kid?
No, but I mean, to a degree, I mean, a meatball sub to a degree, I guess, is on like a comparable bun, I would say.
Like a hoagie? Like a hoagie or a grinder? I mean, okay, so like if everybody notices here below, right here we've got ourselves a meatball sub.
Oh yeah.
Right here we've got the like a roll as well.
A lobster roll, yeah.
Lobster roll. Two different types of sandwich buns, but still buns. Now over here you've got, can you see it? There. The submarine sandwich, also known as the hoagie. Additionally, you've got down here the Cubano. Cubano done in a kind of similar type bread, but shorter and smaller.
Yeah.
What you don't see is a hot dog.
It's true. Also, when you said Cuban, that reminded me, shout out to Delicious, the deli in Lakeland, Florida, where the Tigers hold spring training. It is the best Cuban sandwich I've ever had. Also made by a very nice woman who will talk to you the entire time while they're making it. But that's also just like quaint little Lakeland. So
you seeing this right now?
Looks good. I'm done with mine.
You're done?
Oh, mine's a quick sandwich.
Oh, I thought you were gonna like warm it up or something.
You thought I was gonna what?
I thought you were gonna like put it on the grill.
No, I'm just doing this. Bread is good as is.
Oh, I mean, it's no Sarah sourdough.
It's no Sarah sourdough. She should really call it the Sarah sourdough. That's true.
Cool. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut mine.
This is I don't have a good way to do this, but this is what we got.
Oh yeah. Ooh, I love the stack on that. Good work. And then this.
Yeah.
What we've got.
Oh, that looks nice. I like the green in it.
Yeah,
it's really colorful.
All right. Well, I'm good on this. Let me just make sure that that's off. I'm going to stop real quick. Let's do a real quick pause here. We got a commercial break opportunity here from our good friends at Aunt Nee's. Please hold while we have the Aunt Nee's snack break. Welcome everybody to the Aunt Nee's snack break. I'm Carlos, your host. How do you eat Aunt Nee's? You take a knife, you cut open the bag, make sure it's cut. That's good. And then you could just eat the chips by himself. Or let's see. We got salsa. I got a salsa that's not done yet. Or shit. I got this Romesco. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna just go ahead and toss it. All right, so Aunt Nee's, locally sourced, everything made in Eastern Market, all fresh, gluten-free, no preservatives. If you've never heard it before, then you probably have never watched a podcast. That's a medium, the high five, my favorite. What do you do with Aunt Nee's? You eat it. Where can you get it? Stores like Whole Foods, Kroger's got our chips. We're at a bunch of other stores all around Metro Detroit. Brian, where do you shop for Aunt Nee's?
The new Meyer Corner Market, 13 in Woodward, has it. I like to get it there. I also get it at Eastern Market. So,
fun known fact about Brian. Brian has worked with the Anthony's team on several occasions over the years. 2, has edited a bunch of different videos for Anthony's, including, if you ever watch the videos that we recorded in the back of our old van, that was all done by Brian.
I'm really hoping that those like van videos, hot topics, are like seen years from now in the same light as local Detroit commercials of, past yesteryears, like the DIA commercials, Sexy Specs, Dietrich Furs. I just really hope people look back at these videos and be like, what the hell is this? I mean, we did some really weird, stupid ones. That was our first project together of us just sitting in the back of a van filming things. Like I came up with a list of questions and like, okay, we're going to talk about these. And I'm trying to be strategic, like, oh, this is great. Like this is my first real like Detroit project outside of my main job. And Carlos and just like they threw it out the window. And it was just all improv. And it was
so much fun. So much fun.
Great.
If you ever get the chance to check out, they all still live today on the Ant-Knees Instagram. It's at ant_knees on Instagram. Just scroll through, find the Hot Topics videos, do yourself a favor and laugh a little bit. I miss doing those. Those were a lot of fun, dude.
They were. Those were great.
All right, cool. So let's go ahead and eat these sandwiches, dude.
All right.
You want to describe yours layer by layer and then just take a bite?
Yeah, so we're talking about brioche bread with a little bit of mayo, and then arugula. We've got roast beef. We've got a decent amount of blue cheese, and then some avocado on top as well. So just a simple sandwich. Cream on the creamier side, just with the blue cheese and avocado. But I really like that combo of the roast beef and blue cheese.
It looks really good. Also, no cut.
No cut. I mean, it's such small bread. There's no point in cutting it. Like this is easy to hold with 2 hands. It's not a Sarah sourdough that's long that needs to be cut.
Cool. I like it. I mean, this is not that long either, but I dig it. I like the no cut stuff.
Yeah, but that's cuttable. You can cut that. I mean,
please dig in. Let's see what it looks like, man.
Blue cheese just hits you in the face, like unapologetically just slaps you. It's so good.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like to just get punched in the face by flavor. Hardcore.
Especially when it's cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Getting punched in the face by cheese is an experience that I always love. I don't know. No. Awful.
No, I mean, you're right, though. If you can get a totally, like, really screwed up flavor from cheese, oh, man. I mean, there's some really wild cheeses out there that I'm just diehard over because they're so funky. Like Windermere cheese. Tastes like, Josh Longsdorf from Anthology. He describes it as tasting like cheeseburgers.
Which one did you do? You did the pop-up at DeVries with the really smelly one.
Raclette.
Mm-hmm.
We did raclette nachos.
Yeah.
Man, that was good. Anyway, I'm going to jump into this boy. So we announced today on this show that we're going to start doing food over at Kiesling. You can go there. It's going to be every night starting in 2 weeks. You can just go get a sandwich. This is one of them. This is the vegan sandwich. On here we have a romesco, some conserva style mushrooms, and then also kale that I cooked down. Really simple, 3 ingredients. I also did butter, so it's not vegan, but hey, cheers.
It looks like a very rich sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
What would you, since it's Kiesling, what would you pair it with? Would you go cocktail? Would you go beer?
That's a good question. Ideally, cocktail, because it's Kiesling. Kiesling's cocktail program is wonderful. In terms of the type of spirit or alcohol, I don't know, man. I'd probably say this is maybe more on the gin side. Yeah, maybe a gin, maybe even like a tequila or mezcal, just because it's me. But
I'm going to say, it looks like it would pair really nicely with any sort of clear liquid, as opposed to like a brown or like a carbonated beer. I could see it being good with beer, but I could see that sandwich, at least aesthetically, it would look very nice next to a vodka or a tequila drink.
Honestly, whatever you decide to choose from at Kiesling, this is going to pair well with it. This is really good. And on top of that, it's filling. One of the things that we wanted to make sure that we do is when you're there, you're drinking, a couple of those cocktails hit hard, especially at Kiesling. You get a couple of those cocktails in, you're feeling it. Instead of having to drive somewhere to go get food, this is not just going to pair well with it. It's also going to be a great flavor. It's going to fill you up. And on top of that, you might just want another cocktail after, because sandwiches are there. This is a good sandwich.
Yeah, this bread is really sweet. It's kind of just that brioche. I feel like this sandwich has a lot of back and forth between kind of the sharpness of blue cheese and the sweetness of like a rare roast beef and the brioche. I feel like you really get to go up and down with the sandwich in terms of flavors.
I love that. You know, I've had sandwiches like that with similar ingredients. Like at Mudgie's, they do a beef and arugula, or a beef and blue, rather. Other places as well. But the fact that you can make one with just simple ingredients pared down, you didn't even need to put it on a flat top or anything to cook it up, and you're enjoying it as much as you are. That means a lot about the ingredients. It means a lot about just the simplicity of the sandwich.
Well, I think when bread is fresh, there's no need to necessarily toast or griddle it for a sandwich, right? It's sort of the same thing of like if you go get a fresh bagel, you don't need to get it toasted because it's a fresh bagel, right? So I feel like it's the same situation with the bread. And, you know, I think sometimes a soft bread goes better with, you know, with like an avocado or something like that. That's a bit more on the creamier side. I know I feel like a lot of people might argue and say a crisper bread with crunch is good with something creamy, but sometimes I sort of like to keep things sort of on this, I don't know, same side. Maybe I'm weird, but.
Hey, there's no arguing that, Brian. You're definitely weird. So am I. That's why we're friends.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I want to make sure that I'm sorry, I'm picking over here. I'm like, crumbs. I want to make sure that we highlighted a couple of things that you have going on. I know you're doing a lot of work in terms of production work with sports guys right now, sports teams, individual sports players. But then also you've got some things that you've been able to do around the city. If we want to get in contact with you for works, projects, or even just to take a look at the work that you currently do, how do we find that?
Yeah. You know, Instagram is a great place for artists to be able to showcase the work that they're doing. So you can find me at Instagram at Brian Dukoff. You know, that's a good place to reach out. It's got my contact info there. You know, what was great, it was, I guess we didn't talk about it, but, you know, quitting your job a a month or two before a pandemic is a weird time to quit your job and start your own freelancing business. But it's been a crazy year. Detroit is a great place that takes care of its people. Part of why I left my old job was because I also had a calling to help out local businesses and, seeing, like how we work together in Eastern Market. You just see all these hardworking people that have all these great stories. And so, I do my work with my with athletes and clients and whatnot, but at the same time, I really love to be able to tell stories of people and businesses that have been started and are growing and thriving in Detroit, and be able to share those stories. I mean, the thing that I said to people when I moved here, because the question I always got was, why the hell would you move from San Diego to Detroit, let alone in winter? But I always said is because the storytelling and the people out here, like every story in Detroit is a comeback story, right? I mean, anyone out here for the most part has been through so much, and to be standing where they are, to have their business doing the way it is, it's a real comeback story, People work hard here, and it's always great to be able to showcase that and help tell people's story in a way that they might not be able to on their own. So,
I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah.
You're really good at that. You're really good at showcasing people's emotions, but also like in a way that's very well adaptable and understandable to every audience. So good for you.
Thanks. I mean, the whole thing is like, you just want to be able to humanize people and show people who, the real person. And I know a lot of times with on social media, you see a lot of fakeness, and people are manipulating maybe the way that they look or act. And I think what I've always tried to do is be able to show people are real, right? Athletes are real people. What you're seeing right now, every athlete has the ability to vote, just like we do, right? And they have their personal beliefs just as much as we do. And they're affected by police brutality, and they're affected by social injustices no different than we could be. So it's great to be able to help, humanize people and tell their stories.
One last bite.
Yeah. I still have half of mine to go. So
nice. Well, Brian, thank you so much for being on the show, dude. Hang on one second. Casamara, dude. Love this stuff. That's what it goes well with. It goes well with Casamara, Brian. Get that.
It does. I've enjoyed my sandwich with it too.
So I thank you again, dude. We've worked together a bunch of times, but I'm very happy that we became friends over the years. I'm happy that we hang out, and I've learned so much from you about the different things that you are passionate about. And I feel like we've definitely both grown a lot around each other and with each other. So I thank you very much for your friendship, dude. You're one of a kind guy. That's for damn sure.
I would not be where I am in Detroit if it was not for you. And I mean that seriously.
Thanks.
So
thank you very much, dude. I mean, same. I don't know where I'd be without you and our other friends that we've cultivated. It's just we're a city that just kind of works with each other. We depend on each other. We work for each other, and that's one thing that I think that you've definitely grown into even more so over the last few years. So thank you very much, dude. I appreciate everything that you do.
Yeah, I'm excited to try that sandwich next time I go to Kiesling too.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to put it out. For everybody at home, I just want to make sure that we run down the list of things that I wanted to talk about. We have Planet Ant. Planet Ant, it is a Planet Ant podcast. Very proud of the work that the Planet Ant team has done. Monday Night Improv is back. You can watch it live on this channel. Additionally, also other podcasts, video casts that are going on right now, like Mask Off, Fan to Fan, things like that. Check it out. Check out more sketch, more things coming from Planet Ant. Also, I want to thank, if you listen to the music, whether it was the ad read music or the intro music, that's also both by a guy named Kevin MacLeod. So big shouts to him for Bushwick Tarantella and Lobby Time, the two songs. I also want to thank Mike Zuber, Mustard Valet of the show. I want to thank Danny Veer, who doesn't want me to ever thank him, but I do anyway. Zach Bridges, the original producer on the podcast that you can listen to on Spotify. Parker Hammond for being the showrunner. Mike, Mike, what's your last name? I got to think about Mike's last name.
Johnson.
No, I got this. Mike's last name is McGettigan. Thank you. Mike McGettigan. Huge fan of Mike McGettigan, things that he's done for Planet Ant, and the way that he's worked with the people at Planet Ant to build up the programs that they've done. He's also helping me out with the show right now as well. He's got great ideas, different things that we want to do with the Sandwich Talk podcast, and he's helping me also broadcasting it. Big thanks to him as well. I want to thank just a ton of people that are part of the show, a ton of people that are my friends. I want to thank Carl Malone, who's my mailman, big fan of Carl. I want to thank my chief, Miles O'Brien, who's always been a part of my show and a part of my heart. And, of course, I want to thank everybody at home for just checking us out. I love doing this. I love eating. I love food. If you ever want good restaurant recommendations, check out my Instagram. Hit me up. Let me know what you're doing. I'll let you know what I'm doing. I eat for a living. It's my job now, and I love it. On top of that, Eat Ant Needs. Thank you, everybody, for checking out the show. Brian, once again, thank you, dude. I love you. For everybody at home, I hope you got hungry. Happy sandwich.